So now we're in episode 31, and Jae-yoon and Chin-lang are starting to have like lovely talks every day since she's become the interim CEO. One thing I love that she did as an interim CEO, because she must have thought of this with Cece in Duran Ran, is to get the girls shares for those who are loyal and stay with the company. And that idea spreads to everybody because Cloud Life implements it after they say it. And it's like, dude, you really get on this company for doing ideas. Then you steal their ideas. But then you also don't want to help their ideas because you're worried when you do the same things that you don't want them to do to you, you do to them. I'm like, Chen Lang is just hilarious to me because it's like making make sense to me. Now, Jae-yoon has a heart-to-heart with him, and she's trying not to make it obvious, but it's becoming pretty obvious that she's interested in him. But we're going to get to Cece because her storyline is very interesting for the simple fact, why is she in love with Pineapple Express? Cece really loves being a promoter, but she's also studying the business books a lot. And her boss, the manager, encourages her to study those books more because those books are the best sellers, and whoever gave it to her wants her to be a successful businesswoman. So it gets her to start thinking. So while she's doing mannequins and everything, Cece starts doing more studying. But she also discovers something. They have leftover clothing that she has to pack up and she has to put away, but she doesn't know where it gets sent to. And her boss said don't ask her where it gets sent to because she doesn't know how to give her the information because it can get her in trouble. She asks her to leave her alone about that because it can get her in trouble. And her other coworker does too. I'm sorry, I don't remember their names, guys. You already know I'm here for Cece and Duran. You already know I'm sorry. I'll try and make sure, but I think they're done with the show after these 4 episodes that I'm about to recap. So then Cece starts packing up the boxes and she just gets more and more curious about the boxes. So Mr. Mew, you all remember him from Perfect Blue, the one that we do not like. I'm going to blink my eyes like this because I just don't understand how such an amazing father has such a horrible businessman of a son. So after they fixed the Perfect Blue scandal, then I really thought it would get better with him. No, he's worse. He doesn't even feel apologetic after Duran goes and talks to him about the meeting. He doesn't care. It's all about himself. But it's like, sir, we just got you out of a mess again. We fixed it for you when it could have been worse. Because both of them basically would have had to pay back all that money. I think they kind of did, but like he kind of fixed things with Cece and Jae-yoon so it wouldn't be the fallout that bad. So he's not listening, and then you come to find out why. People, this is why when you have meetings, you always got to make sure you talk to people. Chen Lang is being threatened by the Zeman businessman that is also in the apparel lines with the dad that has the real power. And so he says, you are helping Duran, but you're forgetting you can always go back to where you came from, but he always has something to fall back on. And that seems to be a thing in the drama. Everybody likes to remind Ran about his richness and having things, but if you pay attention, he tries to not rely on his dad, but a lot of people like to throw it in his face a lot. That's why I think him and Cece are perfect together, because people give them a lot of self-worth issues and they work it out together. So Chen Lang is being threatened by the Zeman businessman, and it's really clicking because you're seeing his weakness, which is being poor again or losing everything, but he's not talking to Duran. And Duran, you already know, is going to help him get out of whatever there is. But see, this is the weakling for Chen Lang. He's so worried about making it. He's not understanding it. You need people that are loyal to keep whatever you're making. So after Cece has a heart-to-heart with Ran, we flash cut away from Chen Lang and Ran having a brunch meeting. That seems to be the norm here. They're always having some kind of food meeting, because I think that's like a neutral ground for them. And Ran is very upset that he's so indecisive. So Cece sees how emotional he is when he comes and have dinner with her, because you know that's their ritual, to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They're basically always together, no matter what time of the day it is. They find a way to see each other when they're at work, even if it's not in the same office, because she works with IQIYI now. She basically has a good job, and he has a job he's trying to keep together so that they can be their own entrepreneurs. So she says to him, no matter what it is, if you're falling through, if the company's falling through, if you're struggling, I'm always with you. We are one. I'll always be by your side. So while Cece is saying this to Ran Ran, they're having dinner, and I didn't know Cece does not like onions. And he tells her, just show me your sincerity by eating an onion. She says, I'm not doing that. So she tells him about Pineapple Express having leftover clothing. And he says, we have to investigate that. That's so cute. Because only she can investigate that. But everything they do is as a team. So she says she's going to find out more information. So then we go ahead to the next day where we're at the meeting. And the Z-Man businessman is talking. And he's saying that we need to standardize the clothes. And by standardize, he needs to make it a set price. And all the live streamers are there. And also the Apparel Alliance. And the thing that makes it most disconcerting is because Mr. Duran and Duran Ran are on two different sides. They're not on the same side. But his dad is trying to be the mediator. So Ran Ran already sees he's lost because everybody basically from the live stream alliance has given up. Then we cut away to Cece, who has to deal with the woman manager who is bullying her because her sister-in-law never got the job. So basically, she says to her that she sold false clothes. And the woman says to her about what happened with the clothing being faked. And she's telling her about the bad things that's happened every life. How does this woman know so much about her life? That's the thing that got me. Like, how do you know so much about Cece's life? And Cece has learned so much humility, and she's reading the business books. She's not responding to the woman, which is making the woman madder and madder every day. So every day she comes in the store, which is dead because people do not like to buy regular price. They like coupons. And since live streaming is down, people are still not going back to regular retail stores. They're waiting for e-commerce to get better, or they're doing the factory sales from the live streaming sites, like Rue Live or Kyle Live. So Cece just takes it, and then she is sent to the back, and her coworkers are trying to cheer her up. So then we go back to Ran Ran, who is at the meeting. I love how they keep cutting away back and forth between Cece and Ran Ran. It's like a battle between two different worlds, but it's the same world. While Ran Ran is speaking to the seaman in the council, because his dad is also there at the Apparel Alliance. And he said it's about mutual benefit because the man is not really understanding the times and how live streaming works in e-commerce. So he's thinking about the bottom line for the exclusive like brands, but the designer brands, a lot of people cannot afford to buy them. He's not being realistic. And Ran Ran explains it to him, but he doesn't want to understand what Ran Ran's saying. So the father starts explaining, but he doesn't want to hear it because he says he's biased. And by then, Qian is so scared. Qian has already given up, but he didn't want to not show up because he still wants to be with Jia Yun. That's like weird. If you know that you're not going to support somebody, don't come. So then, Cece is at the Pineapple Express packing up the leftovers, and the manager is telling her she wants nothing to do with what's going on. And Cece's trying to find out where it's going, but she says she cannot help her. So she keeps packing the clothes up, and she's more and more curious. So then we cut back to Ran Ran at the meeting, and they're not getting anywhere. And then finally, they just call a recession of the meeting because it's really at a standstill. And basically, they go and Qian and Ran Ran have a lunch, and they just realize they're not on the same page. And he tells them he's not going to support him, and Ran Ran really feels alone. So episode 31 to me was hilarious for this. Ouyang comes to Cece's job and sees her, and she asks her why she isn't a CEO anymore. You're going to find out why she has so much free time on her hand when I do the next recap. So Cece says she admires her, and she says, I'll pick out one thing for you. And she says, I wish I could be a princess now. I could be cared for. People look out for me and do things for me. And Cece was like, I wish I could be strong and assertive like you. Sidebar. She's shading her so bad just because everybody treats her like fine glass when Cece wants to be like her. My thing is, you can be upset that your ex doesn't want to be with you anymore, but why are you coming at the woman that he's with when the person doesn't even know why you're not together anymore? I thought it was very immature, but also hilarious how Cece is so innocent. She doesn't even understand what she's saying to her. She just thinks that she's bantering with her instead of shading her. So Ouyang buys a shirt, and Cece gives it another shirt, and they start to have a mutual respect for each other. But you realize one thing, Ran Ran always had priority for Cece over Ouyang, and that's why she does not like her. It makes perfect sense now.